back. This is Elliot Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamline Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us here on the Comic Culture Warrior video channel. So, what came out last week that everybody was talking about? The new Ultimate Marvel books. Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimate Avengers. Jose has already written a very extensive review of Ultimate Avengers on the Comic Culture Warrior blog, so check that out if you want to see what he thought of that. We'll touch on it a bit. The Ultimate Spider-Man came out by Brian Bendis and the artist's name LaFuente. What's his first name? LaFuente's first name. Is it Tony? I want to say it's Tony.
No.
No? Help me out here. David LaFuente, my bad. The relaunch of the Ultimate Spider-Man book with a new... It's the new Ultimate Marvel Universe, which is kind of different.
Not really the new one, but it's the same one.
Same one, but it's like they had the crap beat out of it after Ultimatum. Which, as I read this... I have no idea what the point behind Ultimatum was.
There wasn't. It was just to kill a bunch of fucking people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this universe now won't have Magneto, won't have Doctor Doom, and won't have Wolverine. Big
Says
fucking
who?
deal.
And how much
well,
you want to bet that's?
well.
Yeah, how much you want to bet that's not going to last?
Yeah.
Too, because you can't have Marvel books. Let's face it, you can't have Marvel books without Wolverine.
Well, I know.
Or you can't have an X-Men book. Unless you're saying that you're never going to have an Ultimate X-Men book
But
again.
here's the thing to me.
You know.
It's why even do Ultimatum? Why not just cancel the current crop and then have like these books take place like maybe, well, like in here I think it's like 6 months later.
Yeah.
Why don't you just do that instead of like that whole bullshit of Ultimatum? Because it was totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
Totally useless story.
And really pointless. But beyond that, picking up Ultimate Spider-Man 1. What are they calling this again? It's not Ultimate Spider-Man.
Ultimate Comics
Ultimate
Spider-Man.
Comics Spider-Man.
But they don't say that on the cover,
No.
but that's what it says like on my invoice, on
Yeah.
our invoice. So it's Ultimate Comics Avengers, Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. But on the cover it says Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Adventures.
If you'd never picked up an Ultimate book before, again, I'm saying let's say you are a reader with very passing knowledge of Spider-Man.
Yes.
If you pick this book up, I think you're going to enjoy it. In fact, this felt very much, to me, like when Bendis first started the Ultimate Spider-Man books, how many years ago that was. It was just very straightforward storytelling, a lot of, little snappy dialogue. And there's one thing that I liked about this book. And I am the man alone on the island when it comes to this. Peter and Gwen are back together again.
Okay. Yes. Now,
Gwen Stacy, by the way. So
before I actually get into talking about what I liked about this book, I want to talk about the fact that I stopped reading Ultimate Spider-Man at issue 50. All right.
That's around the same time I stopped too. In fact,
yeah.
I think I stopped
and Gwen
before that.
Stacy was dead.
Was she?
Yes, she was. Carnage killed her.
No.
Well, then you didn't read that far.
I didn't read that far. I said I stopped before 50.
Well,
wasn't 50? Wasn't 50 when they had the clone thing? No, the clone
issue
saga?
50 was the one where Wolverine and Spider-Man switch bodies.
I didn't get
And
that.
it was so terrible that it made me drop Ultimate Spider-Man. It was just one of the worst things I've ever read.
Okay.
But Gwen Stacy was dead, so if anyone can explain to me how Gwen Stacy is alive now, please leave a comment on the board. But here's the thing. They're relaunching Ultimate Spider-Man, right? And the reason why it worked the first time is because there was no continuity.
Yeah, it was a clean slate.
It's a clean slate. But this...
It's lots of
look at all the people
Yeah.
like on the cover here.
Yeah.
All right, I don't know how Gwen's still alive. Mary Jane's in it for a panel. I don't really know what's going on with Mary Jane and Peter Parker. And Kitty Pryde is like in love with Peter Parker, which I picked up on from reading this because they talk about it.
Well, that was actually something that happened later. Yeah, that did happen later on,
there's
right?
all this continuity that you need to know now going into a new number one. Now, why they just couldn't explain all that, like on the recap on the first page? That would have kind of helped because they have this whole page here where they could have caught everybody up to speed on everything that has been going down, not just what happened during Ultimatum.
Right. Well,
okay. That aside, I actually like this book.
it was. I enjoyed it. I think a lot of. I know you. I think that some of the criticisms that we can put here on this book, really, when you are kind of like our older fanboy nitpicks. I mean, we are our audience than the ones that are typically going to pick up this book. I mean, if you are, let's say your preteens, teens, approaching your 20s, you're going to read this and not have a problem with it. You're not going to be worried so much about why did this happen here and how did that happen there and so on and so forth. That's really kind of a thing that I think is endemic to comic readers our age. Because I really, I went, oh, wow, look, that's actually kind of cool. And, oh, great, look at that. Peter and Gwen Stacy are together, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And there was the one thing that I enjoyed the most out of this book, which they always tend to forget in the other Ultimate books, Peter Parker is 16 years old. Mm-hmm. And LaFuente draws him like a 16-year-old kid. I mean, he's short compared to everyone else.
LaFuente's art on here is awesome.
It's
amazing.
It's great.
It's perfect for this book. Now, here's the other thing. Bendis wrote this, and I actually liked it. Because it has none of the trappings of the shitty Bendis Avengers comics.
Yeah.
None of the unfunny, witty dialogue, no overt misogyny. None of that stupid bullshit that goes on in his books is in here.
He's playing to a younger audience, is what he's doing here.
But this is the best written book that he's...
Because he's playing to a younger... That's why that free comic book day issue that he wrote was so good.
Because we talked about...
He was playing to a younger audience.
No, he was working within the confines. Yeah. Because he can't do the stupid shit that he does in Avengers in Ultimate Spider-Man.
That's true, too. Yeah.
And that's exactly why that Avengers free comic book day we said was really good. Because he had to work within the box and he had to work within the confines of... Because everyone was going to read it. And that's exactly what this is. It's an all-ages book. And why he just can't write like this, like all of his books, I don't understand.
Again, the discussion we've had, especially about his mainstream Avengers books, he's writing to a completely different audience, just like Jeff Loeb is writing to a different audience. Ultimate Hulk, he's writing for 8 and 9-year-olds. Okay?
Ultimate Hulk.
Ultimate Hulk, just Hulk. Hulk Red. My bad. Hulk Red.
Jeff Loeb?
Jeff Loeb. He's writing Hulk Red for 8, 9, and 10-year-olds. He's basically come out and admitted it. He's writing it for 8, 9, and 10-year-olds because little kids read the book and they get it. Okay? And
yeah, well, you know what? 8, 9, and 10-year-olds aren't going to sustain the fucking industry.
I'm just saying.
That's fucking bullshit. You think 8, 9, and 10-year-olds are buying that book and putting it in the top 20?
No,
that's just him making up an excuse of how awful that book is.
I'm just saying that's who he's writing it for. Regardless of how old you are when you read it, that's who he's writing it for.
That's ridiculous. Why would you write to that? Then put it in the Marvel Adventures. We'll see if you can get away with it.
The guy has come out and said that 7 and 8-year-olds read the book and they get it. Okay, so that's him essentially saying that's who he's writing.
I think that the 7 and 8-year-olds are they just Hulk Red is so beneath them.
Well, hey, I mean, I read it if I sock myself in the head with a hammer a couple times right before I read Hulk Red, I enjoy it. That means that you're
brain damaged.
I enjoy it. I enjoy the book more than
7 and 8-year-olds aren't brain damaged. They know better.
And Jeff Loeb, Ultimatum was just one big horror movie that he was writing for those kids that
horrible movie.
Like the slasher films. That I'm telling you, when they go into this, it's pretty obvious who they are aiming for in the books, and it's obvious that they're not aiming towards us. They're not writing the books for us.
But this is a book that works for me, though.
Yes, exactly. And, and the point there, thank you for saying that, is that you shouldn't have to feel that you need to tailor it to a particular demographic. Back to my original point. Bendis is writing those Avengers books towards those fanboys that he knows are really getting off on that kind of stuff. And you're right. He's really, we've said this before, they're going back to the same well over and over and over again as far as the readers that they're seeking out and seeking to entertain. Instead of writing something like this, which is more accessible, which you can give to your kids. I mean, I can't give half the Avengers books to to younger kids. But Spider-Man, this book I can easily give it, and I found it very entertaining as well. Why do they feel this need to constantly pander in the other books? I don't understand.
I don't understand that either.
And this is not pandering. This is just really good writing, and I'm glad to see that Bendis is still capable of it.
Yeah.
So. In any case, to follow up on that, Ultimate Avengers, Jose already reviewed it on the blog. I know you weren't really crazy about it. Someone had made the point that if you look at the cover, you can't really see anybody's feet. That's true. A lot of feet obscuring here. And this, I read it, and while viscerally I enjoyed it, I don't see the point behind it right now. This is just not.
That was just a filler issue. There was nothing going on in it at all.
I thought the bit with Hawkeye, who actually looks more like Bullseye now than Hawkeye.
That costume is terrible.
Yeah.
They really need to do something about that.
With Hawkeye rescuing Captain America and saying, "I never miss," I thought that was kind of fun. But beyond that...
So you like the fact that they ripped off the Star Trek movie?
Actually, you're right. They did. They did.
That was one of my big complaints about it, is that they just totally ripped it off, and that movie came out 2 months ago. That's what the ending was.
That's true. But in both cases, I'm sorry. I really enjoyed this. Not so much. I'm not paying $3.99 for it.
Yeah, Ultimate Avengers $3.99. No way. No way.
The Ultimate Avengers, and I'm sorry.
Even though I think there's maybe 24 pages of art, if the quality of the writing and the art stay at this level, this will be worth the $3.99. But this Miller story was, and one of the other things I said on the blog was that, man, Carlos Pacheco really should have gotten paid more than Mark Miller did, because he really saved his fucking ass on this book.
He really did save it. Yeah, the art is incredible.
The art is incredible. There's not a lot of dialogue at all.
Yeah.
And like all of these storyboard things, this is all Carlos Pacheco.
And it looks like a film. I mean, it's very cinematic.
Exactly. Well, and that's one of the other reasons that I ripped into this book, because like if I wanted to watch a fucking film, I would watch a fucking film. I wouldn't read a fucking comic book. It's just boring. It's like watching storyboards. That's great.
Yeah. All right. So that's that. When we come back, we'll talk about some things that we enjoyed. How's that? We'll see you then.